Podcast City Network.
Thank you for tuning in on this episode of the Everett Lee Show. But before we get on with the guest onto the program today, there's a couple things I do want to mention that you can help out with supporting the Everett Lee Show. If you're looking to start a podcast and already have a podcast and you're looking for an affordable podcasting hosting site, Podbean's your number one choice. Podbean offers statistics with in-depth analytics to manage your podcast needs. Use the promo code podbeam.com/pbsignup and get a free month off. That's podbeam.com/pbsignup to get a free month off and see why 1,500 episodes have been shared all over the world in the past 11 years with over 3,000 subscribers that have chose Podbeam as their number one hosting site. And if you're looking to get into advertising, Podbeam advertising, you'll get $100 off advertising when you sign up as a sponsorship over on podbeam.com/pro/pbsignup. That's podbeam.com/pro/pbsignup.
You're listening to the Everett Lee Show.
Welcome to the Everett Lee Show. I'm the Everett Lee. It's been a while since I've done a podcast and I had a guest on. It's been probably about 3 weeks since I've actually done anything for myself. Here lately, I've been working on projects, been doing a lot of stuff that you'll probably hear about with my guest that I have on with me on the program on this episode of the Everett Lee Show. I want to welcome back to the program. I haven't had him on in quite a while, but I talk to him quite a bit every other day. I want to welcome back to the program none other than wrestling promoter and wrestler, Thumper Chapman. What's up, Thump?
No, not too bad. And commentator and manager and booker.
You wear a bunch of hats. You wear a lot of hats in the wrestling business, man.
Well, that's the way it was back in the day. We wore a lot of hats. That's what I think separates us from the new guys. They can't even carry one hat, and we were carrying 20 hats.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you've seen that from firsthand to where, they stress over one hat. And, I remember when I was commentating, getting ready for a match, doing a match, plus running the show, plus running the security and everything else, plus booking the card, getting the card ready, and still working a match, commentating, and then I'd come out and manage another guy, and they're stressing about sitting there, oh my God, how's my show going to run? And I'm sitting there going, really? Wimp out much? Yeah. But that's the way they are. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you've wore a lot of many hats.
A lot of hats.
And as we like we've talked about like plenty of times with our conversations that we've had on and off on the air, and just in general, just talking just about the wrestling business, and we've had really good conversations with the wrestling business on the different types of topics we've talked about and discuss and everything.
Yeah, I know your favorite, sitting at a show with me and me explaining the whole match, and I wasn't even in on it. But I'll break the match down to you and show you the logic behind it. And, but that's good learning experience. I used to do that with all my students. I would actually have them, even though, I'm very old school. I believe you train, you pay your dues, you study up underneath somebody for 6 months at the school, and then your promoter or your trainer, whichever, a lot of times it's the promoter and the trainer that goes with you to different shows. And I used to like to take my students, even though I worked another show, I would like them sit down next to me at a commentating table so I could actually explain in a different way, more of a psychology aspect. Well, like me and you did just a couple Saturdays ago, the aspect and the whole logic behind matches.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I think I trained some of the best students. Yeah.
Yeah, just watching the match that we did that weekend. It's been probably about maybe three. It's been about 3 weeks, hasn't it? It's been about 3 weeks, and just sitting there, we were at Knockout Wrestling's Unfinished Business 2, which was outside. My skin, my arms are still peeling, and my neck has not peeled, which I'm surprised. That's usually the first thing that peels after I stand out in the sun for so long. But my arms started peeling there, and I'm sitting there at work. I'm sitting there just like scratching, and because I'm looking at my skin there.
My face ain't as red as it was.
Oh God, yeah. I felt bad for your wife because she was doing re-announcing, man. She almost passed out, man. She almost passed out.
Oh, she's a tough bird, though. Let me tell you something. I have seen my wife go and do through a lot of mini shows, and some of those shows got to about 100-degree weather, and she'd still hang in there. But like I told her, there's a big difference between 25 and 45. Yeah. And I keep telling her, you need to take a break. You need to get shade. You can't take it like you used to. You know, I can't even take it like I used to, you know. And I've noticed that. Yeah. Right. And that's why it kills me when I watch these young guys whine about it's too hot in this locker room. I want to reach out and slap them because I can't ever remember ever really being in any place that had any air conditioner.
Yeah.
You know, until I got to the bigger circuits, and of course, you know, they had central air, and you had bigger rings, you had bigger crowds, and you know, and that was a different story. But when we went on the smaller circuits, I can't remember hardly ever having air conditioner inside.
Yeah. That's like the Jason Taylor match. Yeah, man, that gauntlet match, 6-man gauntlet. I was so surprised, and just I don't know how he did not pass out in that damn heat, man. It was almost like 101 with the damn humidity because I mean we're here in Florida, you know, this time of the year, and it was the first day of summer too. On top of it.
Yeah. Well, you got to realize something about Jason Taylor. I've known Jason Taylor for years. I've known him and his brother Danny for, almost 20 years now. And they come from a different breed. You know, they come from a breed like me. You know, when we come up, we had to have a high endurance. That's what we were taught was high endurance.
Yeah.
And that's why guys like that can stay in there with guys half their age for, 45 minutes at 113-degree temperature, sun beating down on you. And, he feels the effect, but I remember there was my old promoter, and my old trainers used to tell me, there is no reason to ever call a match. You better be dying if that match is called. And that is the same philosophy that they have, is if the match is set and the promoter sets that match, you got to do that match no matter what. No matter if you're puking on the side of the ring, you get back in there and you keep going. You do not stop for nothing. It's almost like a military training, the endurance that they do. And, and that's where I think that the new generation is lacking, because they don't have that endurance like the older guys used to. We've talked many times about the difference between the heels back in the day and the heels now. The heels nowadays are really watered down. And as well as I do, half these promoters are scared to death of them because they don't know what to do if I play full heel. They're like, oh my God, is he going to pin somebody? We can't control him. And they don't realize I stick to the rule. Whatever the promoter says goes. Yeah. But, there was a statement made at a show, and the guy said, somebody said, well, aren't you going to tell Thump what to do? They're like, okay, you show me one person in the back that's got more experience than him that can call a match, and we'll put him over there. And they're like, good point. and that's the thing. And, and in a way, it's kind of a compliment, but in a way, it kind of gets old because, because you kind of feel like you're an outcast.
Yeah.
Because, you want to be one of the guys, but they continue to separate you from the guys.
Right.
Because they're like, shh, don't say nothing to Thump because Thump might come and glued on you. And I'm like, you know me, I'm not like that. But in their mind, they've got it automatically set up like that. Just because I'm cutting my weights.
Yeah. It's just you come from that generation there that basically is just if you don't mind me saying, a hard knock generation, because you came up tough and hard, and those values have stuck with you. And some of the newer generation will listen to that because they know that listening to someone who's been through it all and a vet that's actually knows the business and knows this works, this don't work, you're gonna try this, try it because it works, and you know that. And when you do pass that on to people who listen to you, they come back, and I know they're like, you were right, Thump, you were right.
Yeah. Well, that's like, I always thought, I was really never a nobody. I was just always thought I was just one of the guys, just a jabroni. And I still think like that. I still think a lot of ways I'm a jabroni in the business, because I'm always still learning. Mm-hmm. And we had a mutual friend. I don't know if he's a mutual friend, but he knows a mutual friend of ours. And it's the commissioner up there in Kentucky. He's the licensing commissioner. And he's like, I remember you. And I'm like, you do? He called off the federation I worked at years ago. And I was like, you still remember that? He's like, oh yeah. He said, everybody knows who Thumper Chapman is. I was like, is that a good thing or a bad thing? He said, Thump, we know you don't take no crap from nobody. I was like, okay, when somebody from 4 other states comes back and tells you that, you either A, made a mark for yourself, or you made a lot of enemies along the way. And not a lot of times, both ways. You made enemies and a mark for yourself. Yeah.
Right.
And so, it's just, it's my son's texting me, telling me, I don't like the people. I'm supposed to go to like bowling. And he's texting me, and I'm thinking to myself, why are you going there? Don't go. Yeah. But it's this new generation. And see, I don't understand that. And I will never understand that. Excuse me. And me and my kids talk about that all the time. Well, they're like, Dad, I don't want to offend them or make them mad. Okay, say what you got to say, and there ain't no problems.
Right.
And everybody always thinks I'm a mad person. I'm not. I say what I got to say, and that's the end of it. I don't hold a grudge with people.
Well, that's like we talked about promos. Do you feel that a lot of the talent that especially heel talent, do you feel like they're holding back when they're cutting a promo on a baby? Do you feel like they're holding back, they're not going full heel?
Well, I think when it comes to promos, okay, and I think we've talked about this several times. Excuse me, my bronchitis kicks in every once in a while. The heel always makes the baby.
Yes.
The better the heel, the better the baby.
Yes.
Always. The worse the heel is, the bigger your baby's going to be. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that, not counting most babies are assholes. Let's make that a note. Most heels are actually excellent guys. Most babies are assholes. That's probably why I never liked being a baby. I didn't like to hug necks, kiss. I like to make people mad. I think where the problem lies isn't about being a face, because it's easy to be a face.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like the old politicians. You can run out kissing them, kiss babies and hug necks and high five people, and they love you. Simple as that. But a good heel, a real good heel, point Rico Moon out. Okay, I'm going to throw Rico Moon out there for a second. Rico Moon is a good heel.
Yes.
That man can walk out there in 5 seconds and make you hate his guts.
Oh,
You know,
yes.
same way Bill Crude, same way a lot of the other guys.
Mhm.
You know, but the better your heel is, the better your baby's going to be. Because the more they hate me, the more they're going to love you.
Right.
And that's where the problem is. They don't really teach them to be heels no more. Our society has gotten to this thing to where they carry their emotions right there on their shoulders. Okay, you know, we've talked many times about this. I've played everything from a gay biker to a racist rednecks to a womanizer to a woman beater to, I mean, I played it all. And the people that know me says, you know, Thump, you're not none of that stuff. You're actually very much of a family man. You know, my wife is the center of my world. You know, I mean, I try to spoil her as much as possible. My kids are great. You know, they see me at the ring and they look at real life and they're like, this is not this man, you know, that, you know, but the people out there see me as this way.
Mm-hmm.
And the ones that know me, like, actually, no, Thump's very helpful. He's very lovable. He's really a sweet guy, you know. But it's all in how you're taught to be. If you're not taught properly, then, you know, then you have to learn the hard way, and you have to be willing to listen and learn. Yeah,
Right.
I remember one time I thought I did a good heel, and I was walked there, you know, my chest was all beaten out, and I was like a gorilla beating my chest, because I thought I was a good heel.
Yeah.
And the man told me I wasn't worth 2 knobs of goat shit.
Wow.
And deflated my ego in about 3 seconds. He said, now, let me tell you how to be a better heel. And I listened to him. And, you know, 20 years later, you see Thumper Chapman from all the lessons I've learned. And I could have simply said, oh, my God, it offends me, and run away and screaming and crying and throw my hands up. But I took those lessons and I thought about them, and I learned how to take them and mold them into my character, into my being, and how to take them and advance in the business. And I like to think pro wrestlers are ADHD kids. And everybody's like, why? Well, if you can ever sit them down and get them like an ADHD kid and focus on what you're saying, they listen.
Yeah.
But if you can't, you might as well give them some Ritalin to calm them down. Yeah, because they're a bunch of bullheaded kids.
Right.
Yeah. I remember Venom. Venom started working with me back, I guess Venom's been in the business for about 14 years now, back when he first started.
Yeah.
And he was always the young guy that was always happy, excited, you know, couldn't wait to get in the ring. You know, I mean, you know, he was one of them guys. And, you know, but see, here's the thing about Venom. Every time I told Venom something, Venom absorbed it.
Right.
And he put it in his character. And same way with his trainer, Dalton Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
See, Venom's trainer was my show was the first show he'd ever worked.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And my wife's telling me she needs my keys, her key. Here you go, baby, take them off. And but yeah, and when he first came in, he was I forget. Oh, let's see. Let me think, because that's been a few years back. He played this. I wanted to trick the crowd. It was what I call a hooey dooey. And see my lovely wife. Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah. So it says, hi, Tanya.
Hi, Tanya.
And well, my wife will tell you. You know, I've always been.
All right, here we go.
All right, I love you, baby.
Love you too. Bye, Denver.
How the boys
Bye.
open up the game? Leave my keys out there if I have to.
I can't even get my keys off.
Let me see my keys. I'll take it off while I'm online. Women. You can't live with them, and it's against the law to kill them. Ain't there a statute that says, wait a minute, don't you have an insurance policy?
No.
Nobody said, I edit that. I have one of the boys up against my gate.
Oh, man.
But,
my wife would kill me if I said that.
Man, 19 years of marriage, man. And you'd be surprised if you say, yeah, because we never take each other serious, you know.
Right.
But Dalton Kelly, I've always been known as this wild card. I always have been, from day one from the business. So Dalton Kelly resembles Mick Foley a lot. And I said, hey, don't you have a Mankind gimmick? He said, well, yeah, actually I do. Good. Now he was about 3 months into the business. Okay, I just broke my own rule. Never put nobody in the ring unless they've been training for 6 months.
Right.
But I had a backup plan for this.
Mm-hmm.
The whole match had every one of his trainers in it. So the good guys, the bad guys with all his trainers, so he was protected either way. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and every one of these guys had 20 years in the business, so he was covered.
Uh-huh.
So he got in there and he says, well, I really don't know much more than a bump. I was like, oh, you'll be fine because you're going to get your ass kicked tonight anyway. So, it doesn't really matter. So, Dead Man was with him. And Sergeant Hardcore. Not Sergeant Hardcore, the real Sergeant Hardcore. And so they sat in the back and they went over what I wanted. And he got on there. He said, don't worry, we'll take care of it. That night that he stepped in there, that was when he absorbed and he fell in love with the business.
Okay.
And I had a chance to sit down and talk to him. And after that, every show I ever did, he was right there. He didn't care if it was setting up chairs, working, selling hot dogs, whatever it was, he was there because he was hooked to learn. And he wanted to learn the whole business. Then he come back and he started training Venom. And, and then Venom started coming back to the shows, and Kelly always brought Venom to my shows, so he would advance in the shows. So there's a lot of guys that has come through our federation, like Leva Bates. Everybody knows who Leva Bates is. She just signed with ECW. She,
AEW. AEW. Yeah, AEW. I have a flashback there, aren't you?
So anyway, so what she did was at that time she was training with the Dudleys. Well, the Dudleys had sent her, Betsy, Ruth, and a couple other people down. Mm-hmm. And they had come down and worked for me several times, and I was able to sit down and talk to them and explain to them what they had to do in this business to make it.
Right.
Now, this was 15 years ago.
Okay.
And you see where Leva Bates is today.
Yeah. Yeah. Talking about her, speaking of her, I remember when she was in NXT, and when NXT came to Daytona Beach, we're doing like live shows, I got to see her in action a couple of times, and I loved what she did as Blue Pants when she was in NXT though. But I just wanted to throw that in there in the conversation.
When she worked for me, she dressed up in a Star Trek outfit.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
What
was into that cosplay?
No way.
I told her, I said, I fell in love with Star Trek all over again.
Now,
then she did that, let me see, that character from Saw where they rode the tricycle out. She played that character.
Yeah, Jigsaw.
Jigsaw,
I think that's the name, Jigsaw. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, so over the years, she modified her characters all the way up to now, and now look at her. So, so I look back at all these people that went forwards to NXT and WWE and AEW. Some must know something about a little bit of what he's talking about. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Just a little bit. Yeah. And somebody asked me one day, how come I never went to WWE? I said, that's a real simple answer. Vince McMahon's an asshole and I don't want to work for him.
Right. Right. We've had that we've had that conversation before because you mentioned it and a lot of workers want to get to WWE. And what have you told those workers why they wanted to go to WWE? What was your response to that when they said, "Hey, I want to get to WWE"?
They always say they want to make it to WWE to be a professional. And I always look at them and say, "You dumbass, you're already a professional wrestler. Why do you want to?" "Well, I want to get off the indie circuit." "Okay, WWE is still part of the indie circuit. So what? You want to make more money? What do you want?" "Oh, I want to make more money." "All right, sell your merchandise. Get out there and push yourself. Advertise yourself, promote yourself, and then before long, you'll be making money, and then you won't even think about WWE." Wanting to work for WWE is people that has watched WWE that sit back as little kids say, one day I want to be a WWE person. My first 3 questions, and we've talked about this, before I train anybody, I ask them, "Why do you want to be a pro wrestler?" When they say WWE, I say, "Get the hell out of my ring, I ain't going to train you." "I want to make money." "Get the hell out of my ring, I'm not going to train you." They're like, "Well, I've always loved the business." Then you are the one I will train.
Right.
Because if you're thinking you're going to make it rich in this business, you might as well quit. If you think you're going to make it WWE, you might as well quit. Because it's harder now to get there than what it was 20 years ago, even 10 years ago.
Right.
If you don't love the business, there's no reason to do the business. Mm-hmm. That's the key. I never wanted to do it because whenever I got into the business, I loved pro wrestling. I didn't love WWE. I didn't love all these other things. I loved pro wrestling. I loved every aspect of it. I loved the creativity of it. I loved the feeling that I could make people feel. I like to say, I like to play with their emotions. I could make them happy, make them mad. I could make them sad. I could make them love me. Either way, I can sit there and play with their emotion like a bunch of putty.
Right.
I love that. Because it's like being an actor, but it's like being a stuntman, but you piss me off, I can kick your ass too. And that's what I love about it. So it's got all the characters that anybody would ever want in it. And it's a brotherhood like you've never met before. Right. I mean, they still have their ups and downs. They still have their glitches. They still get their mad. And my Jack Russell kid still keeps jumping up on my bed, and I don't know why. Come on, Lord. Come on. Every time you hear that, Dawson's doing it. I call her Thunderbolt. I call that sassy. That's Mama's dog. Mama's wife says she's up my behind all the time. So, yeah.
Kind of like my dog. Kind of like my dog right now, Thump. My dog is sitting right underneath this desk right here, just laying right here asleep right now. And I'll tell you what, right now, the neighbors are like blowing up fireworks right now, shooting them off like a world war right now. I am surprised right now that he has not jumped up and started barking.
Oh yeah, and my beagle does that.
He's out. Yeah.
That's why they're back here with me, because Mama's not here no more.
Yeah.
But one thing I did want to cover tonight is about outlaw federations.
Yeah. Now talking about one thing that we were just sitting there, discussing about with like a worker wanting to get into WWE eventually one day, but a lot of promotions talking about promotions now. Have you, like outlaw promotions, have you seen a promotion start out as an outlaw promotion but eventually progress into a well-known promotion? And have you seen promotions just stay as an outlaw promotion?
Yes, I've seen that too. I have seen guys come in as an outlaw promotion and realize their weaknesses, and then they ask for help to teach them, and then they actually become a legitimate promotion.
Right.
That's the key. Now and I'm going to say something that a lot of the veterans will disagree with me about. It's wrong about it to be outlaw promotion, but in a way it's not either. As long as you want to learn the business. And everybody says, but Thump, what's an outlaw federation? Okay, the state of Florida is passing this law to where you have to have your license to run a promotion. You have to have your promoter's license, you have to have manager's license, commentator license, worker's license, and all this stuff, like every other state is. And what brought that up was years ago, Florida was the main draw for WWE, WCW, ECW, all these major federations. The Florida Indy got so bad to where they got every Tom, Dick, and Harry thinking they could they're a pro wrestler just because they go in the backyard and bump a few times.
Right.
Well, they want to start separating them, and there's so many outlaw federations that they want to get rid of them to bring legitimate promoters in. The problem is probably about 60% of your federations nowadays are outlaw federations. Now, everybody says, what's an outlaw federation? Well, I'm getting ready to tell you. A lot of them don't have their license, their insurance. They've never been taught to be a promoter. They have no idea how to put a show together. They have no idea how to do storylines. They know nothing about it.
Right.
If you have to hire somebody to run your show and you don't know how to do it, then you're outlaw federation. Yeah. And that's the thing. And unfortunately, that's what it is. Mm-hmm. They're outlaws. And, I mean, stop and think about the Wild Wild West. What did they call an outlaw? Somebody that never obeyed the laws. Right. Yeah. They're pretty much, they're no more than a bench leg promotion. That's all they are. They're nothing legit. The legitimate promoters, and I'm talking about the guys that we talked to over a long time, that know each other. They have a network to where we can contact Kentucky and South Carolina, North Carolina and Virginia and all these other states. And it's pretty much, it's like a private network where we can sit there and say, hey, this person did me wrong. Okay, then you know what? We're going to blackball him all through. But there's so many outlaw federations that you can't do that. Right. Because they think they already know what they're doing just because they watched WWE when they was 9, 10 years old and they know all about the business, and they don't know nothing about the business. Right. They're going off an illusion, of a character. Right. Remember, we just talked about the Thumper Chapman character. Everybody sees him as this big, bad, scary guy, and actually, Thump's not like that. Yeah. But they live off of this Vince McMahon character, and they really don't know how he is behind the scenes. They don't know what it takes to win it. And I think we talked about that too. What all it takes to put on shows. Uh-huh. And you've been to several shows. How many of these shows actually do it properly?
It's far and few, actually, from what I've seen, that have actually done it right. Because talking about outlaw promotions, I wouldn't even know if I would actually call it an outlaw promotion, though. But it would lead into my question about running promotions would be: do you think there's too many fans that run promotions nowadays because they watch it on TV and then they decide, I buy a ring, they buy a ring, and then let me buy a soundboard so I can run sound, and then bam, there you go. But from what I've seen at shows and stuff, a lot of them are run properly and a lot of them are not run properly because of too many hiccups and stuff. But also too, with at first I didn't really understand was match cards. Here's your match card for the night. By the time the show starts, halfway through the card, it can change with a person not showing up or a person showing up late and then just getting shifted around and stuff. And I've seen that.
Yeah. That's where the experience of the training comes in, because promoters have to always know the answer, even if they don't know the answer.
Right.
They have to think quick on their feet.
Right.
A fan cannot think quick on their feet because they don't know the business. You know, they're just standing there with their thumbs up their ass going, I don't know. What do I do? What do you think I should do? You will never, ever hear a legitimate promoter ever ask anybody, what should I do?
Right,
Never.
because they already know what to do. They already
If
know
they
what
don't,
to do.
they're going to fake their ass off. Yeah, and it'll work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Because they've had that experience. Say, okay, we did a show back a few years ago. I think it was called, I went down and helped the promoter. It was SPW. And it was down in Hudson. And the guy says, Thump, yeah, and he was a young guy. I mean, he was one of them guys that said, Thump, I want you to teach me business. Okay. He said there was a problem where some guys didn't show up. He says, what do we do? I was like, well, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go in my imaginary filing cabinet up here, and we're going to pull from the former shows way back I did 20 years ago, and we're going to pull that show out. And we're going to rearrange this whole show around that card right there, and this is what we're going to do. And he says, that's so crazy. I think it would work. I said, I know it's going to work because it worked 20 years ago. And the fans between now and 20 years ago, they have not changed.
Right.
You know, a Hershey's chocolate bar is still a Hershey's chocolate bar. You know, a Butterfingers is still a Butterfingers.
Exactly.
They still like them. It's the same principle. It's what the promoter gives them and tells them what they like is what they like. So, yeah, so if you have a bunch of monkeys flipping, flopping in the ring, you know, jumping off ropes, and you're like, oh, yeah, that's what I'm going to promote. That's what they're going to like. But if you take two old school guys like Rico Moon in there, they're going to like that. Why? Because he just pissed them off and made them mad. And he didn't even do no more than 3 moves and 2 bumps.
Exactly.
But they let, yeah.
Yeah. Unfinished business, too, when you and I were there for Knockout Wrestling. Rico and Johnny Walker.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
I love them when they came out to the ring there, man. Especially Johnny Walker, man. I just loved how he fired up the crowd. The crowd hated him after he walked around the ring within 2 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
The guy had everyone pissed off at him, and I'm like, "This is great." You leaned over to me and you said, "Whoops, there goes my mic." You lean over to me and you said, "See, you notice that right there?" And I said, "Yeah, I noticed it." It's like, he's a heel. He's a look at that. He walked out there and he pissed off the crowd. Rico pissed off the crowd. The crowd did not like them, and they did their job, man. They did their job, and I loved it. I love that match.
Well, and that's the thing. They're like, nowadays they're like, I don't want to offend nobody.
Right.
One thing that'll piss me off faster than anything, and because I've ran Christian federations before.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we're a Christian federation. We can't make people mad like that. What? Have you not ever read the story about Sodom and Gomorrah? Have you never read the Bible? There is so much stuff in there that it would be a hill's fantasy to get a hold of that book and go crazy in there. I mean, think about it, And they used to look at me like, Thump, it's a church. You can't bleed in a church. Why? Well, it's a church. Why? Why can't you bleed in the church? And then I thought this, didn't Christ take 39 stripes? Yeah. Did they not beat that man? Yeah. All right, did they not crucify him? Yeah. All right, then shut up and get out there and bleed. And the pastors would agree with me. You're right. So, yeah. I mean, yeah, but they're so worried about offending people to the point where they don't even do their job properly anymore.
Right.
And I can't stand it. Mm-hmm. It drives me wrong. That's why my rookies are 10 years into the business whenever they come to my shows. Mm-hmm. I pick 2 rookies, two actual rookies, so I can bring them in and with the veterans, and they can teach them the proper way of working a show. Now,
Right.
are they going to be able to work like that in every show? Probably not, because you have a bunch of candy-ass promoters out there that don't want to push the envelope. They don't want to make themselves look too bad.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, well, Thump, what are you going to do if they protest you? Sell them all tickets and tell them to go back and get their friends, come back and protest the next night. Why? Because I'm going to sell more tickets. Well, what if they bring 1,000 people? I was like, then that's 1,000 tickets I done sold. And they're like, you're crazy. But think of the logic to that. You can protest all you want to. Don't mean I'm going to change anything.
Right.
I'll be against McMahon. I walked out there and said, I'd like to apologize to all you dipshits out here for protesting against some dipshit thing that I don't really know what I did, but okay, I apologize for it anyway. But thank you, because I just made $10,000 off you. You see what I'm saying? But
Yes.
these guys nowadays don't have the kahunas to do that because they don't want to push the envelope. Now, old school promoters would do that.
Right.
Because while they're out there protesting, I'm going to be sitting back there counting that money and say, did they buy more tickets? Okay, bring me the money. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm going to be happy at the end of the night because I accomplished what I wanted. I got my publicity out there. Why? Because they're protesting me, which probably put me on the news, which gave me free advertisement. Then they're going to stand outside and protest me more, which is going to give me more coverage from probably Channel 8, Channel 9, Channel 10, Channel 13, and probably Channel 44. And if I'm lucky, CNN will drop up there and make a bunch of false accusations. And then I got it even bigger. So now I just went nationwide. So now, by the time I put on the next show, I've gotten 5 to 6, 7 times the people buying tickets that I normally would. So who's really winning in the long run, me or them?
You are. Exactly. Yeah, because that's that you're putting butts in the seats, man. You're putting butts in the seats. And and I do feel that this generation, because I'm 41. I grew up. I was a kid in the 80s. What's that?
I'll get you a Baba later.
I just, as a kid in the 80s and a teenager in the 90s and a young adult in the early 2000s, it's just, I wonder, it's like, when are you going to put the soy milk down and quit being butthurt? You know, that's the thing I don't get. It's like quit, just put the damn soy milk down and just take a risk, push the envelope, because if you can push that envelope to a point and then when to back off and you get the reaction that you need, you've done something. And a lot of people, I feel, just don't take risk nowadays. They at least, it's like, get out there. If you succeed, you're gonna succeed. If you fail, you fail. That's part of life. That's part of life there. Like, also, it's like with the being butthurt, with the butthurt generation, it's like you win, you lose. It's like now if you lose, you get participation trophies.
Yeah.
I didn't get that. I played baseball, minor league, major league growing up, baseball. We made it to the championship, and the 2 years the first year I played minor league, made it to championship playoffs. It was my team and another team. We lost. We went home basically with our asses handed to ourselves. The winning team went to Dairy Queen and got ice cream. Okay, we went home basically like with our feelings.
Only winners get sprinkles.
I didn't get no damn sprinkles. I went home and just with a dirty uniform and had to throw it in the washer and went to bed. That was it. Now it's like
it's funny you said that, because I was in a locker room one night and somebody says it was a younger kid. And I won't mention their name because I love them to death, so I won't mention their name. Thump, I didn't mean to offend you. The whole locker room starts laughing. And they're like, "What?" I said, "Thump's old school. You don't offend him. If you offend him, he'll slap the shit out of you." I said, "But I don't get offended." Yeah. I said, "I have been called everything in this book. The only thing I'll hurt you for is if you call me a liar. Then I'll hurt you. You can cuss me out as much as you want to. Just don't ever call me a racist and don't ever call me a liar. And those two things, you'll live to see tomorrow if you don't, as long as you don't call me them two names. Yeah.
Right.
Because I've always tried to keep my reputation. I'll tell you real quick, I'm an asshole. When I'm at a show, my shows, I'm an asshole. But I got money on the line, and I don't like to lose money. Now, if I'm at a show, I'll be an asshole. If you say, hey, Thump, come here, you're going to get Thumper. If you say, hey, George, come here, you're going to get George. Simple as that. However you call me is what you're getting. Mm-hmm. That's old school. That's working your character. Yeah. And that's why you see a lot of guys in the back, the older guys say, hey, George, come here. Yeah, man, what's up? Yeah. But the younger guys call me Thump. Well, guess what? That's what you get is Thump. A sarcastic, weird prick. Yeah. And I think Nick figured that out, because now when he calls me, he says, hey, George, hey, man, what's up? I think he kind of figured that one out.
Since you brought up Nick there, Nick,
we gotta love Nick.
Yeah, we do, man. We definitely do, and I do appreciate the fact that he called me up out of the blue there and asked me to do Double Down. He pitched the idea to me. I was looking and I'm like, you know what? I've done like over 200 episodes of this in the last like 5 years. I'm like, you know what? This is about the time where I can actually, use what I've done in the last 5 years since 2014 and apply it to something that comes natural to me. Mm-hmm. So I had that conversation with Nick there, and I said, yeah, we'll do it. And Double Down was born, and that first episode, just having him on there and just having him show off the belts, because right before we hit the record button, I'll tell you what, he said, you want to see the belts? I said, no. I said, show them to me when you present them, because because he was wanting to show them to me, and I was like, I don't want to see them. I want to see them when we hit record, because I wanted that reaction that everyone saw and listened to when they saw that debut episode. That was me. That was the first time I got to see those championship belts. Then I got to see them again at Unfinished Business 2 there. But just having that opportunity there and just doing something for a wrestling promotion, actually a wrestling promotion that's been around for quite a while, and not some wrestling promotion that's actually, run by a fan who puts themselves out in front before the talent does. Yeah. I love it. What you got there?
And that's what I don't get. That right there, that's my belts. They're no more than a leather strap to me. That's all they are.
Wow.
That's it. They're no more than just something hanging around your waist.
Well, since we're talking about belts, since I brought that up, belt designs. What would be your favorite? What would be your favorite belt design that you've seen?
Out of Feds. Any federation. What belt design that actually caught your attention? You're like, wow, that's a pretty good design there for a championship belt. Do you want me to tell you the truth, or you want me to lie to you?
Well, that just all depends, man. That just all depends. Just
old school, don't care what the belt looks like. You hand it to me, I'm gonna carry it. I don't care. I never pay attention to belts. No, never have, never will. Because it's just something on my belt right now around my waist. I paid $12.95 for it up at Walmart's. It serves a purpose.
Yeah.
I couldn't even tell you what WWE's belts look like. I couldn't tell you what AEW's belts look like. I couldn't even tell you what knockout belts look like. I'd never pay attention to them, because they're just a fake trophy that just they hand say, okay, here you go. I don't pay attention to them. The only thing only time that I pay attention to my belts, or any belts, when I sit there and say, okay, we got to make this belt look good for the crowd. What are we going to do? Oh, I got an idea. And whenever they print it out and show it to me, I throw it in a bag, set it in the corner until show day, and that's about the only thing I ever pay attention to.
Yeah.
Most of you old school guys don't care about belts. A legitimate worker does not pay attention to the belts. It's a rookie mistake that I'll say, oh my God, did you see the new WWE belt? Oh my God, it was so phenomenal. Okay, do you have the $2 million contract behind it? No. Then what do you care for? It's a belt. It's a belt that they're going to put out there to sell at Walmart. So some little kid goes, Daddy, I want that belt. I like that belt. That's all it's designed for.
Right.
I mean, it sounds like an asshole, but that's the truth. It's just something that they can sell for the next kid to come by and want to buy.
Right. Now, one question. I think I asked you this the last time I had you on was, who makes the belt? Does the belt make the man, or the man make the belt?
The promoter makes the belt.
The promoter does.
Mm-hmm. So stop and think about it. The man don't get the belt unless the promoter gives it to him. And the promoter also makes the worker. So who makes the belt? And who makes the worker?
I've never really thought about it that way. That's I never thought about that way. I've never really thought about
that's why belts mean jack shit. Yeah. If you look at and this is the way promoters look at it. The honest promoters that will tell you, we see workers as product. We see belts as product. We sell the workers. We sell the belt with the workers. I don't care if it's who actually holds a heavyweight title at Knockout. I don't even know.
Venom.
Okay, Venom.
Yeah.
I couldn't even tell you who the belt holders are. I honestly, I couldn't even tell you who WWE's belt holders are because I don't ever pay attention to it. Venom is
Same
a product.
here.
Yeah, he's a product. As a worker, he's a product. Okay, they build him up, and they give him the belt. Now, he has to take this belt as one product and sell it.
Yes.
So that way you can sell the belt and sell the little figurines of the worker. So if we made Venom figurines, we would have to sell him as a product.
Right.
Then we can make belts of Venom's belts and sell them as a product. And that's how it's designed.
See, I never thought about that way, and I never really thought about that way. That's a good point. I mean, that's facts right there. That's facts right there. I never really did think about that.
So asking me what kind of belts are out there is asking me who made that pin.
True.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That's how you spot the real workers from the marks.
Yes. That seems like a term that's been thrown around and stuff there. Marks, the mark, you're a mark for this, you're a mark for that. It's like our mutual friend said that he probably told you this story because he told me this story too. Our mutual friend of ours said that he was at a show and he was in the back there with Hogan and Savage, and Hogan asked him, said, "Hey, what's the crowd look like? What's it look like out there?" And he pulled the curtain back and he looked. He said, "Yep, the arena's filling up with marks." And then all of a sudden, Savage jumped up and said, "Hey, we are all marks. We're marked for something. We are."
But a real worker is a mark for the business, not an individual. See, me, I'm a mark for pro wrestling. I mark out to pro wrestling because I eat pro wrestling, I drink pro wrestling, I think pro wrestling. So pro wrestling, I'm a mark for.
Right.
Do I have people I look up into the business? Of course. I look up to my vets, you know. Why? Because if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be where I am. See, that's a big difference. A mark is somebody that's going to cream their jeans and get weak-kneed when Hogan walks by or Randy Savage walks by. That's a mark. Or, oh my God, yeah. A worker's not trained like that.
Yeah.
A worker is trained. You never mark out to another worker. You shake their hand, you show them respect, and you leave.
Mm-hmm.
You're a mark for the business, not for the worker. Because what are you going to do when you're up there with that man in the same ring? And in fact, Kool-Aid, I'll put him out there. He ran into Shawn Michaels one night. And I told him, I said, now when you see Shawn, don't mark out, dude. If you do, I'm going to slap the front out of you. And he said, when Shawn Michaels had asked him if he was working at Walmart, I was like, yeah, Shawn Michaels shops at Walmart, just like Thumper Chapman, just like Denver, just like the rest of us do. You know, they have to buy groceries and clothes and stuff like that. He says, all I could think of, Thump said, if I mark out, I'm going to slap you. He's going to slap me. Shook his hand, as a worker would. He said, yes, sir. No, sir. Showing respect because he is his veteran. You know, he is a veteran in the business. Listen to his stories, learn from his stories, just like he was taught. And he said that was the best conversation I have ever had with the man because I learned so much.
Right.
I said, the day you mark out to somebody, you're not a professional no more. You're no more than a fan that buys a ticket. Right. Because we're all workers. I don't care if you're a concession stand person, a security person, a wrestler, a manager, or a commentator. We're all workers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Are you going to mark out to another podcaster?
No, I wouldn't. I would not actually, because there's a few out there I can tell you that I'm fans of, but I would not mark out about them. I would not mark out about them. I don't even mark out when I was part of that one show, which I will not name. And I was in the bathroom in the stall. They were taking a piss, and I look over and there's Shannon Moore.
Yeah.
And I had a conversation right there with Shannon Moore. Just a conversation. Didn't mark out or no nothing.
This is like the rest of us does, yeah.
Exactly. I'm sitting there. He's at the sink there. I'm sitting there just talking, just talking about what we just experienced and just what we went through. And I wasn't there like, oh my God, Shannon Moore. When I did leave the conversation, I said, hey, I did enjoy your matches, everything you did that I've seen in WWE. I appreciate everything you've done. And he said, thank you. And I said, you're welcome. And I left. That was it. That was it, man. I mean, what else should I say? What else should I say?
That's like me and Colonel Brute about 6 months ago. We did a show on the other side of Tampa. And Eric Bischoff was there. Uh-huh. And I walked up, shook his hand, and said, hey, Eric, how you doing? He said, hey, man, how you doing? Probably didn't remember my name because I'm bad like that. I don't remember people's names either.
Right. He
sat over there at his booth. Me and Colonel did our thing. And I looked over there. Eric is rolling out of his chair laughing because we just made his day commentating. We come out, he said, man, that is the best commentating I've ever had. Mm-hmm. I put it marked out. This is it. Now I'm gonna talk like a fan would do, or a mark in the business. Oh my God, Eric Bischoff said I did a good job. Oh my God, no. I shook his hand, said thank you, man. Went on about my business. Simple as that.
Yeah.
He gave me a compliment. I accepted it in discussion.
Right. Yes, definitely. But I do want to mention this right here. I want to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll dive more into the conversation right here. But first, there's a couple things I do want to mention. If you grew up as a kid in the 1980s or just a fan of 1980s pop culture, then ADTs is for you. ADTs sells a huge variety of licensed t-shirts featuring characters, movies, TV shows, video games, and music stars from the 1980s through today. They also have great costumes from 80s pulp culture too. ADTs.com sells officially licensed pulp culture t-shirts. As you might guess, their focus is on the 1980s, but do sometimes sell other cool pop culture related tees. 80s Tees has been in business since 2000, meaning they like retro 80s stuff too before it was cool. Follow the link provided in the description section of this episode for more. 80stees.com.
Hey fans, here at Podcast City Network, we have a lot of great shows on all of our great social media outlets. PodcastCity.net.
Facebook.com/Podcast City Network. Hit that thumbs up. You can send a tweet to Podcast City Network on Twitter at Podcast City Net.
Only on Podcast City Network. You're listening to The Everett Lee Show.
Last year, I probably told you this here. Last year, AEW did Fyter Fest here in Daytona Beach at the Ocean Center. Me and my wife went. We went. We sat there and we enjoyed the show. We sat next to. Actually, no, it wasn't Fyter Fest last year. It was the year before. It was right before AEW did the Fyter Fest there, where they did the cross promotion with not Game Changer. No. CEO Gaming, I think it was. At that time, it was still New Japan. Kenny Omega and all them were still in. It was New Japan did a cross promotion. Well, they came to Daytona Beach. And where me and my wife got seats at, we sat next to a guy who came down from Cocoa. And he said, I'm on vacation. I heard about this coming here, so I decided to come. So we started talking to the guy and talking about wrestling and everything. And then they were doing a meet and greet with the Gorillas of Destiny. I know you've heard of Gorillas of Destiny. So he said, would you mind walking over there and going with me? I was like, yeah, no problem, man. I was like, he's like, he had his camera. He's like, could you take a couple pictures? I was like, yeah, fine. Yeah, I'll do that for you, man. I'll take snaps of pictures for you. He's like, oh, I appreciate it. We're walking over there. Bobby Fish is standing right there with his girlfriend or wife. I don't know who. And he's like, he looks at me and he stops and he's like, it's Bobby Fish. And I'm like, don't mark out. And he was like, okay. And he's like, I was like, keep it cool. And he was like, okay. He's like, I just want to go over and say hi and take a picture. He's like, here, you want to take a picture? I was like, all right. Before we can take a picture of Bobby Fish, one fan walks by. He looks again, and I'm like, please don't look. And he looked again, and all of a sudden, oh my God, Bobby Fish. I'm like, fuck, it's over. Here comes everyone. He takes some pictures and gets the hell out of there. I'm like, it takes one damn mark to ruin it all. But
because all they want to do, they do not want you to come up and say, oh my God. They just want to be a normal person. It's okay to come up and say, how you doing? Nice to meet you, man. Enjoy your work, and leave.
Well, this is
out. It becomes a nightmare for them.
Exactly. So during the event, we looked over by where they did the meet and greet with the Gorillas of Destiny. I have a couple pictures of that we took that he took with my phone for me because I went up there and met them. Cool, really nice. I was like, hey, love you guys, love what you do with their Bullet Club and everything. They said appreciate it and took pictures, shook their hands, said have a nice day, and they're like, enjoy the show, thank you. And now I went on, but Simon Gotch, who was Simon Grimm, who went to Ring of Honor. Simon Grimm, you know what I'm talking about? He was in NXT with the Aiden English. Well, he was there just to join the show. After the show, I went back down and I ran into him. I said, hey, what's up, man? And I shook his hand. I said, love what you're doing at Ring of Honor. He said, oh, well, thank you. And I said, I appreciate that. I said, I checked out your shows. I met you a couple times. You probably don't remember me when we did a meet and greet with NXT. And he was like, oh, okay. I was like, remember in Daytona live events? He's like, oh, yeah. tell me a funny story. He's like, yeah. He said, the location of that place is crazy during Daytona. I said, yeah, it's not really in the great part of Daytona. And he was like, yeah. He said us and the boys saw a cop taser a homeless man behind the building, which we laughed about. And I joked with him about it there, and I talked to him, and I said, well, I shook his hand. I said, appreciate everything you're doing and hope to see more from you. And he said, thank you. And
let me ask you this: did the homeless man go, or was he just like?
I don't know. I didn't get that far, man. I didn't get that far, but
that's something I would have said.
But I had a normal conversation with him. I thanked him and everything, and I walked off. So I went back to my wife there, and the guy that we met, and I was like, he's like, were you talking to Simon Grimm? I said, yeah, I was just talking to him. He's like, you didn't take a picture or anything? I was like, no. I just went over there and said, hey, what's up? Normal conversation. That's all. I didn't. It was like, it's like, I've gotten to the point in my life, Thump.
Yeah.
I don't need to mark out. When I first met Jimmy Hart, inside I'm like sitting there, I'm like, oh my God, this is Jimmy Hart. But I'm like, it's Jimmy Hart, man. And so it's just, I've gotten to the point.
No different than Thumper Chapman or Everly. He's no different.
Exactly. Some people are, they mark out for something. I mean, we all mark out for something. We all do. Yeah, I mean, we have. I refer to it as our vice. We have a vice we like to go to. What's that?
You put a girl like a woman in a song, I mark out. I'm not gonna lie, I mark out.
Yeah, we pretty much. There's that one thing in our lives that we will mark out about. We will. I pretty much mark out with really great, like, independent movies that are done. I mean, there's cheesy ones, but it depends on like the story and how it's done. I mark out on certain comic book based movies, but other than that, I mean, wrestling, I don't mark out as much as I did when I was a kid. Like, oh my God, that's like, I can't believe they did a moonsault off the ring into 5 tables. I'm like,
somebody asked me one time, when was the last time you watched WWE? I can't remember. Have you seen the new NXT? I was like, what's an NXT? I didn't even know NXT was out there until like 2 months ago.
Right.
Because I don't watch it. I mean, if I happen to see it on my Fire Stick, I may watch 2 minutes of it and say, that's crap, I don't want to watch it. Because I believe too many people watch that stuff and steal ideas from them. I remember a time when WWE stole ideas from us. And now you're stealing ideas from them. Mm-hmm. This is backwards. Yeah. Right. And that's the thing. That's why I don't like to watch them, because I don't want to participate in the crap that they're throwing out there. I want to do my own stuff. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's like Jim Cornette. I met him back in 2017. Yep. I think it was actually 2017, 2018. I can't remember.
Crazy,
yeah, I was talking to him, and one of the best advices that he gave me, and he mentioned this on a recent podcast he did when he was talking to FTR. They were formerly known as the Revival in WWE, but they're right now doing stuff in AEW. And I was listening to that conversation there because I enjoyed the Revival when they were the Revival in NXT, and even I had high hopes when they came to the main roster, and of course Creative crapped on them and they left. I get that, and they explained all that in the podcast. Cornette said one thing in the podcast that he said, if you steal something from someone, it's plagiarism, but if you take multiple things from it, it's research. I've always went by that from what I've done and stuff, and it's like if you create something and you do something, it's good to take a aspect of that idea and actually use it, because if you take something and you're like, oh yeah, I take this, it's gonna, is gonna be looked at as probably this. It's like, why do you want to be this when you can be that? And you can actually separate yourself from the norm and do that. It's like the way I look at podcasting.
Oh, yeah.
I rarely, back when I first started out, I talked about WWE a lot. But then I realized, I stepped back and I looked and I said, how many damn freaking podcasts are out there? All they do is talk about WWE. It's like, it's like, why be a part of that when you could be something else? How many podcasts do you know that are out there, Thump, that actually talk with independent wrestlers that eventually someday, what if they decide to say, hey, I do want to eventually put on my resume that I did do something in WWE.
You know what the difference is? They're marks and you're not. That's where it goes by there. They want to run to the WWE because they're big marks for WWE. Me, somebody looks at me and says, well, Thump, WWE's brought more women workers in because they're so much better than men.
Right.
And I shake my head. I'm like, is that what you believe? They're like, yeah. I'm like, now let me tell you real facts why they bring women in. Why? Because they have 3 factors that men don't have. Because they know you're going to want to watch them in the ring in skimpy outfits, and then you're going to be a big fan of WWE. Because let's face it, you're a man, I'm a man. Which would we rather see? 2 big guys fighting to fight wrestling in the ring, or 2 good-looking hot blondes sitting there rubbing all over each other in a skimpy outfit, putting each other in moves and all this other stuff? It don't take a rocket scientist. Now, if you do 3 or 4 matches of that, you're going to have every pervert in the countryside wanting to watch that match, hoping that their outfit slips just a little bit so we can see something. And that's the way the mind thinks. In reality, it's not going to happen. But they just want to just wait and say, oh, my God, they're in the ring. What's going to happen? Are we going to see a butt cheek? Or, that's what they think.
Yeah.
That's why they watch.
When I watch women's wrestling, sometimes depending on who it is and who's in the ring, I feel there's more aggression, and and I hate to say this sometimes a women's match can be more entertaining than a men's match.
Well, think about it. It goes all the way back to the beginning of time, to where 2 women used to do an old wrestling match, to a mud wrestling match, to wrestling in the ring. Men love to watch that stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. So why not put 3 or 4 matches? I mean, if I could find that many women to put on a show, I'd put all 8 matches of nothing but women rolling all over the ring, all grabbing hold of each other, because I'm going to get every perverted man out there to watch it. And you know what? I'm going to sit back and I'm going to count the money while they're buying the tickets.
Exactly.
I don't care what's going on in the ring. Yeah.
Exactly. It's like when Steve Austin had the Broken Skull Challenge. One week he would do the men. He had the men come on, and then the following week he had the women. There was times where the week I'd watch the men, I'm like, oh, come on, man. The following week when the women come on, I'm like, yeah, yes, because they fucking wanted to kill each other, man. They wanted to kill each other. They got it, the aggression. They were like more amped up. I hate to say this, they basically had more testosterone than the men did, man. And I'm like, because I'm like, this is gonna make up from the last week, because I'm like, where the hell did these people come from? And then the following week, and then all of a sudden it's like, I was like, okay, the men, all right. Hell yeah, we rocked. We did good this week. And then, and then the next week would be the women. I'd be like, yeah. And then, there was times where I'm like, I loved it, but not feeling it. It's like,
I'm gonna put you on the spot. During the men doing that, you gotta have got tea, sodas, something to eat the whole time that show was going on, right?
Mm-hmm.
When the women were on, how many times you get up and go get something to eat and drink and Exactly.
It's just the women are more aggressive, and they will pull your hair out, beat their opponent down. Competition. Women, I don't want to get into talking about, like battle of the sexes still, but when
you gotta keep yourself out of trouble because you know your wife's gonna watch it. See, my wife, she knows the business, so she knows how it goes.
Yeah.
So my wife knows, okay, men like TNA. Simple as that.
Yeah.
The more aggressive women get, the more men like it because this woman can kick my butt. I like that. That excites me.
Yeah.
Okay. She's like, all right, go out there, shake your butt, kick each other's butt. And if you want to smack a man, that's fine. Smack him because you're going to get him excited. They're going to put more money in my pocket.
Right. Well, that's like
that's why it's great having a female promoter as your wife. Yeah.
Well, that's like this too. It's like damn, I forgot what I was going to say now.
I got sidetracked in a minute.
Yeah, you sidetracked me there, man. Just give me a minute there. I can figure it out.
You and your wife been married, what, 5 years?
No, we've been together for 8, but married for 7.
Okay, well, yeah, but y'all still newlywed. 19 years down the road, you don't look at the same things you did when you were only 7, 8 years in the marriage. Now, me and my wife can actually pick and say things and don't get mad. So whenever I come up with crazy ideas, like women, she'll look at me, she says, yeah, I think that would work. Because she knows how men think. I know how men think. You know how men think. We know how to get them to put money out to see women.
Yeah.
That's like, I have a friend of mine that owns a strip joint.
Mm-hmm.
And he tells all the women this. He says, I know men better than you do. I know what they'll spend money on. Now let's go make some money. Mm-hmm. And he's right. Because as a man, he knows what men like. So he just tells the women what men like, and they go rake in the cash.
Yeah.
Same principle. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well,
it's all that's all it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things, since we're talking about women here, women has here in the last couple years, 2 or 3 years, if you go back that far, have been kind of almost like breaking that boundary that's been, with the separation there. For example, a few weeks ago, we saw Controversial Inc. become the first intergender tag team champion. Okay,
now are you talking from a promoter's aspect or as a mark aspect?
I'm talking about. Okay, I'll give you 2 perspectives. Okay. From a Mark's aspect, I'm like, this is great because in that company, I've not seen that before. So I'm like, hell yeah, I want to see how long they're going to hold on to those belts.
Yeah.
A promoter aspect, I think it's a good move because that's becoming, people like to see that. So you're going to get that kind of fan base have their butts in the seat. You're going to draw that kind of fan base there as well.
You also got to realize I was the first promoter to ever put a heavyweight title on a woman. So, I still see, and this is where a lot of people misunderstand. Workers and promoters see women as men as just that. They're workers. There's no such thing as male or female. They're workers. So it doesn't matter if and I can never remember the name, Controversial Inc.
Yes.
Or what you call it. Okay.
Yes.
It doesn't matter to me if they have the belt or not. I don't care if it's a man or a woman or 2 women or 2 men. I don't care. If it puts butts in the seat, that's a great product. Do you know what I'm saying? Because I could take a woman and throw her in a ring with a man and have them go at each other and fight for a belt. Okay. I've got 2 workers in a ring fighting over a prop.
Yeah.
That's pretty much all. Okay, if the fans like it, great. I sold my product. You see what I'm saying? It seems cold when you put it like that.
Yeah.
But that's the purpose.
Yeah, that's the cold reality of it. But
oh yeah.
it's pretty logic there, and I like that. I like that because I like seeing something that's like that I've not seen before, because I'm like, wow, this is different. Storyline wise, I want to see where it's going to go next. I want to see how long they can hold on to the belts. I want to see how long in the story and the journey of it until.
You want to say how the story's going to go?
What's that?
As long as the fans want them to hold the belt.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I've seen people go on that journey to get the belt, and the fans are with them. They're like, "Go get it! Go get it!" They finally beat all the odds, and they get that belt.
Oh, yeah.
And everyone's like, "Yeah!" It's like, all right.
And the fans quit booing. It's time for the belt to come off. Go to the next one.
But
and that's the reality of it. And that's where a lot of fans get tied up in the imaginary world that we want them to see. And they don't realize, okay, they got Controversial Inc. has got the belt for 3 months. Yeah, they're on a winning streak. But you know what? I'm kind of getting tired of seeing the belt. All right, belt comes off, goes to next ones. Mm-hmm. I mean, and a lot of people look at me and say, "Wow, Thumper, you're an asshole." No, I'm a promoter. And
you listen to the fans. You listen to the fans too, because the fans know what they want, and they let you know what they want. If the fans aren't happy, they're going to let you know.
The fans only know what I want them to know. They only like what I want them to like. Because it's like bringing a cheeseburger, okay? Mm-hmm. It's like McDonald's or Burger King or Wendy's. Who's got the better burger is what they're going to like. Why? Because I decorated it up to make them like it.
Yeah.
But once they get tired of that burger, they're going to move to the next one. Same principle. I give the fans what I want them to like, what they think they want. In reality, when they take it and they're like, you know what, I'm tired of eating cheeseburgers, I want a taco. Then I got to figure out how to quit making cheeseburgers and make a taco that they like.
Right.
It's the same principle. Yeah. Mm-hmm. This week is Controversial Week. Next week, it could be Johnny Z, or it could be Persia, or it could be whoever, whoever I see the fans start cheering for the most, that's 9 times out of 10 who I'm going to put that belt on. Because why? That's the ones that are putting butts in the seats and putting money in my pocket.
Agree. I could not disagree with you, and I can agree with you a lot more. Now, talking about promoter, I noticed the shirt that you're wearing there. What's that shirt you're wearing there?
That's our CFWE shirts. That's our actual company T-shirts that we're actually selling. We're selling them for $20 a piece, and that's one of many that are getting ready to go to the table for sale. And me and Miss Tanya talked about selling the Chapman shirt. It's got this logo, me and her on it, with the Chapmans across, and we've got several other shirts that we're working on to sell at shows too. Yeah,
but because we talked here in quite a while here in the last few months there, and you're pretty much you're getting back into being a promoter again, and you were ready to go. You started training again. Started getting some workers in there, and you started
the workers. Yeah,
you started doing your thing that you've been doing for 20 some years. But then all of a sudden, this pandemic here in Florida actually just started jumping like really, really bad. The media has got everyone scared shit crazy, and with the test, because more testing's being done now, so the numbers, of course, are jumping. So that's scaring the shit out of everyone. So basically, everyone's taking the precautions to be safe.
We were supposed to start up in the middle of July. Was our grand opening on our first show back.
Mm-hmm. Right.
We got canceled because all of a sudden now Polk County's got whatever 10, 20,000, who the hell knows anymore. So they shut us back down again.
Yeah.
They're like, well, you can have 20 people at a show. 20 people ain't even going to pay my workers. 20 people ain't even going to make me get up out of bed.
Right.
You know, if I'm not putting 50 to 300 in the butts in a seat, I'm not even making gas money to go down the road. You know, not by the time I pay. If I pay $200 for the building, then I'll pay each worker whatever they're getting paid to get there. Then I'll pay for the gas, the ring maintenance, and everything else. I've done dropped $2,000 in it, so I've done lost my butt.
Right.
If I make $300 out of the show and spend $2,000. Okay, I'm not going to mention no names, but that's a person we know. His philosophy that he would do: put $2,000 in the show and make $300.
Yeah.
And you worked his show before, I think, running sound system.
Yeah. Yeah. I know exactly who you're talking about, though. We're not going to give him the publicity on my show here because we don't want to get anyone blue. So yeah, I know exactly. Yeah.
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 And as my I can't repeat what my wife says, but I'll put it in the better terms. If it don't tickle my feet, I'm not going to do it.
Exactly. And you don't need 69, 73 people to run a Facebook page because I didn't know they took that many to run it. But besides that, it's put a halt on what you plan on doing there. And I just want to know, because I've not asked you this even on off camera, off the record. I'm going to ask you on my show here.
Okay.
When do you see you'll be able to get up and running and do a show? When do you see that? What I'm looking ahead of time?
About 2 to 3 months.
2 to 3 months.
And I'm going to say it, stupid people don't quit riding and things actually die down so where we can actually do shows. Yeah. Because in reality, I don't care what anybody's feelings is. My job is to put on a show to mess with their feelings and to make money.
Right.
So they can protest all day long. I don't care. I don't care. They can protest the moon's green, the sun's yellow. I don't care. Yeah. All I know is you're stopping me from making money and putting on a show. Then I have a problem with that. Yeah. Right. You know what I'm saying? It'd be the same thing if a promoter come in my area and said he's going to run against me. It's the same principle. Yeah. Because you're stopping me. Yeah. And I don't like that.
Yeah. Well, we can blame that damn virus from the Chinese government. That's my conspiracy. So, but it's affected everything that I've loved and enjoyed, like especially professional wrestling, independent wrestling. So it's basically done that, and that's just my conspiracy and thought on it, though. But
I have people on a daily basis calling, Thump, you going back? Yep. As soon as this crap gets over with, we're going. Oh, my God, I want to buy a ticket. And I'm like, well, I got the tickets, but I can't tell you exactly when we're coming back. I probably have at least 100, 200 tickets sold automatically, and I ain't even put that first flyer out.
Fly
out.
You basically got like 200 pre-orders.
Just because they heard Thumper Chapman and CFWE's coming back.
Yeah, a lot of people's waiting for it. A lot of people's looking forward to it because you've had that fan base just sitting there for a long time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And what's bad, a lot of those are actually workers just buying tickets.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. Are you how's your animosity and your excitement for this?
It's business.
Business.
Man, am I excited about running again? Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about, am I getting excited about, pro wrestling? I'm like, it's pro wrestling. I mean, I do it for a living, so I mean, yeah. But yeah, I get excited about running, but see, I'm different than everybody else. Everybody else, I feel they're trying to make a name for themselves. Right. It's not about that for me. Yeah, because I mean I've been around so long. It's not about making a name for myself. In reality, if I could have my way, I would be in the back and never step out front. You know, I don't have to be seen. I don't even care to be seen. Mm-hmm. My point is, I've always loved the business. I always have and always will. So if I'm not running the business and I'm not taking care of the business, then I'm just basically like one of these old guys that's put up on a shelf and only break in case of glass. In case of only break the glass in a case of emergency. I don't want to fall. I was in that category for 12 years. Mm-hmm. I don't want to be in that category no more. It's time to show the young guys how the old dogs do it. Mm-hmm. Because we give them the reins, and there's an old saying, they hump the pooch. They pump the pooch too much, meaning you fucked up the business too much. Now it's time for the old dogs to come back and show you actually how to do it. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And you know me, Everett. I tell them right straight in their face, you fucked up the business. Now it's time for us to come back. And they don't know what to say because I'm so outspoken. Right. Okay, they think I'm outspoken now. Wait till they come to work for me. And then they're really going to see a man that really tells them what I think when they screw up in the ring. Yeah. I don't hold back. Yeah. I never have, but I was brought up that way. Mm-hmm. I brought up with promoters that would knock your ass out, if you screwed up one time. They had no problems telling you how worthless you was by screwing up in that match. Right. So, yeah. Right. Yeah, so you don't hold back, and that's one of the qualities I like about you is you don't hold back. No bullshit. You don't beat around the bush. You tell it like it is. People know how to take you, or they don't know how to take you. People who know you know how to take you, and it's like, well, that's just how he is, and that's just how it is. People who don't know how to take you, they step back and they don't know. What do we do with it? Yeah. I mean, and, like you, I mean, people that know me know I'm a very lovable guy. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm very outspoken, but I'm a very lovable guy. Yeah. Yeah. The ones that don't know me, they're like, what do we do with him? Yeah. Right. We don't want, do we want to say something out of Temco? We might get shit slapped out of us, and probably will. Yeah. But the ones that get to know me realize, Thump's just here to help us, or Thump's he's just him. He's old school. That's the way he is. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. That's just how you are, man. That's basically just how you grew up in the business there. And I think a lot of people that we've mentioned about, talking about different workers and stuff, they've picked up a lot from you, and they've used that, and I think it's great, and I've really do appreciate, and I enjoy the conversations that we have off camera. There's 5 reasons why I'm outspoken. Well, my mom and dad made me that way, but one, I have no anxiety. I have no stress. I like everybody until they prove me otherwise. I meet very few people I don't like. Believe it or not, I know a lot of people think I don't like them, but in reality, I like a lot of people. And, you know, and sometimes my wife will tell you, I could be hard for her to take because if she said, honey, can you go make me a cup of coffee? Can I have a cup of coffee? I'm like, yeah, sure, you can have a cup of coffee. She looks at me, can you make it? And I'm like, well, you just asked, can I have a cup of coffee? Yeah, you can get up, go make your own coffee. Yeah. She's like, no, can you make it? I said, you didn't ask that. You said, can I have a cup? Yes, you can have a cup. Can you go make me it? Well, yeah, I can. I can go make you one. And she says, will you? That's the key factor. Will I? No, I don't want to go make you a cup of coffee, but I will. Yeah. Right. So, yeah. So, you know, right. It's logical when you think about that because too many. And here's what I was taught years ago, and I have learned this because, you know, my dad used to work in the carnivals as a pro wrestler.
Yeah.
Okay, so I come from the oldest blood in pro wrestling. Mm-hmm. Trust me, they don't get no older than that. My dad would have been 115 today.
Wow.
If he was still alive.
That's amazing, man. My grandmother, I just want to throw this in here. My grandmother, she lived to be about 100. She lived to be 100, and then she passed away. But go ahead.
Well, my dad always told me, he said, son, he said, it's like this. He says, there's people going to like you, there's people not going to like you. But as long as you're straight up with them, you'll find out who's your friends and who's your enemies because you don't bullshit, you don't cut around, you tell it like it is. They know what you think about them, they know how you feel about them. I have the philosophy, you like me, great, we'll be friends. If you don't like me, get the fuck out of my face and I'll knock your ass out. Point blank, simple, cut and dry. If I like you, I'll keep talking to you, you know. And I think that was what was, matter of fact, we'll mention Nick because Nick was good for this. Nick really never knew how to take me because he for so long, he said, I don't want to make you mad, Thump, but you're an asshole. Yeah, I'm an asshole. That's besides the point. Yeah. But me and him talks all the time, and he's noticed that I'm always there for him when he needs help.
Right.
Because I like Nick. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I give Nick hell all the time, but that don't mean I don't like him. Yeah. I give him hell because he was like me when I was in my earlier years. I was bullheaded, didn't listen to nobody, didn't want to know nothing until one day somebody looked at me and said, if you don't listen to me, I dropped my phone again. I can't help my dad.
I think that's like the third time since I've had you on here in this last hour here. You've dropped your phone.
Well, I get excited and I hit my desk. The next time my phone goes, bloop. Yeah. But pretty much, you know, they liked me, but they had to slap the hell out of me to get my attention to teach me something.
Right.
Because I was a fan for the WWE in the beginning, and I thought I knew everything about the business, and then I realized I didn't know shit about the business. Right. And to me, I still don't know shit about business. I'm still a rookie, just learning. Mm-hmm. Even though I've been in it for years, but that's the way I look at it. You know, I might have a little bit more knowledge than others, but I try to share what little knowledge I've learned. But I'm still always learning. Yeah.
Yeah.
One day you'll have to get Donnie York on and have a discussion with you. Now, you want to know the business? That man will teach you the business. But he can be a hard one to take sometimes. Mm-hmm. But that was one of my trainers. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd love to. I love to pick the veterans' brains, man, because it's when Jimmy Hart was right here in Daytona Beach, and I would sit there and watch Raw or SmackDown and go at that time and sit next to him, or even a pay-per-view. Just listening to him talk and just kind of picking at him, it's like, well, what do you think about this, Jimmy? Jimmy would be like, hey, baby, it's like this. Oh, I didn't think it like that, Jimmy. Hey, what about that, Jimmy? Hey, baby, it's like that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. I did not think about that. And then Jimmy look at me and be like, hey, baby. And, you know, like he's like, he would ask me once in a while, I was like, hey, have you heard anything about this? Or have you heard about anything about that? And I said, yeah, actually, yeah, I did read something about this. Or I would read something because, you know, he's Hogan's manager. He's been Hogan's manager for a long time. I would see something, and I seen a story one time. So I'm like, really? I don't really think I'm not feeling like this is believable. So I said to myself, I said, I'm going to go to Jim. Next time I see Jimmy, I'm just going to ask him. So I saw Jimmy, and when I had a moment, I said, you don't mind me asking, I read this here. You know, and Jimmy would say, yeah. And he basically say, that's not what it's about. It's about this. They made it into, oh, I gotcha. And I love that aspect of it because it's like, really? Let me just ask the source. It's like, hey, you know anything about this here? You know, they mentioned Hogan or something. He'd be like, no, that's BS. He would let me know if it was BS or not. And then he'd be like, yeah, there's something like this though, but they're making it into a bigger thing than what it is. I gotcha. Okay, that's good to know. That's all I needed to know. Thank you.
You start looking at it like this. We know, technically, I never left the ring. But Thumper Chapman retired. Now, you was at the last show I was at when I worked around the ring. Thumper Chapman retired, but I didn't. Think about that. You should understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so
And see, now, do you ever retire from the business?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you don't. You never retire from the business because why? I don't know if it's an addiction or it's a love for the business. I haven't ever figured that one out yet. That keeps drawing us back to it,
right? In
some form or fashion, you know, some form. Yeah,
yeah.
So yeah. And like tonight that you played a character for me. First time you ever played a character for me. That was something that you've never done before. No.
Yeah, because what we have coming up here, I gave you a little example of that, a little sample from that, and I do appreciate your honest opinion right there about that. It gives me actually goosebumps here talking about that here with you. I love it.
Not a lot of people can pull that off.
But I did. I definitely. Well, I'm going to say I'm glad I pulled it off, and I was just being me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I'll never forget the look on your face when I thought the idea that you was like, I'm like, here you go, put this on.
That was that was nice because I showed a couple. I mentioned it and showed a couple of friends, and they're like, wow, you're doing that? I'm like, yeah, I'm doing that. I said, it may go further, and you know what? Whatever needs to be done, I'll do it.
And, you know, I look at it like this, and I go back to this. I don't care if I'm in the back. I don't care if I'm in the ring. I don't care if I'm around the ring. I don't care if I'm selling hot dogs. I don't care if I'm sitting at the commentating table. As long as I'm in the business, I'm happy. It don't matter with me. Mm-hmm. Yeah, my true love has always and will be owner and promoter. Yeah. Do I love the ring? Yes, I love the ring. I love around the ring. But I've always loved the creativity better than anything. Thinking quick on my feet. I love that because it keeps me sharp. Yeah. And it also makes me laugh when I watch these new guys running around with their thumb up there going, what do I do? I don't know what I do. You know, I love watching that because I'm sitting there going, you dumbass. But that's my own little thing I like to do. I don't share that with everybody. Yeah. But with me, it's always promoter and everything. But I see my kids calling me, and we've been here for about an hour and something minutes. So yeah. We're gonna
wrap this up here. I do appreciate you coming on because you asked me. You're just like, hey, when am I coming back on? I was like, actually, you know what? I haven't done a fucking show in 3 weeks. I need a guest. You're like, right here, man. Why don't you're like, fucking ask me. I'm like, okay, you want to come on the show? And you're like, yeah, I'll do it.
Because I don't look at us as on the air. This is no more than me and you talking on the phone.
Yeah, this is basically our basically the conversation people's getting to see, man. It's like I just have to
watch it sometimes because, like my wife says, other people watch what you talk about, and I'm like, oh shit, they do, don't they?
It's like I love those conversations where you call me up and you're like, you won't believe the shit that I heard today. Check this out, and I'm like, what am I going to hear today? Because it's always something new. It's never the same fucking thing. That's what I love about it. It's never the same damn thing when I talk to you. It's always something new, different.
People from all over call me and tell me this. I'm like, oh, dude, you got to hear this. It's just sometimes it's crazy shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's what I call the Underground Railroad. It's the wrestling phones. To where promoter tells another promoter and they call each other, and I just tap into the pipeline and I repeat to you what I hear. Yeah,
exactly. I love this. I'm glad that you took time out here and come back on here, and I enjoy it, man. And
well, you're my buddy, so it's not a big deal. Yeah. Yeah, I just can't wait. I can't wait to meet your wife and your daughter on Sunday. Yeah, because I've never met them.
Yeah, you never met them, and that's going to be good because I'm going to come over and we're going to be able to work on some stuff with that we have that's going to be out that people can check out, but we don't. I really don't want to mention anything at this time right now. So when that becomes available, people's going to be checking it out because it will be posted out there on my social media. And what is
on that
day? It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. What with me putting it out? Yes. I'm looking forward to it, man, because we've been talking about it all week. We've been talking about the last 2 weeks. It's like, what are we going to do? It's like, yeah, I'm going to go do this. Oh, okay, you do that. Well, you should approach it like this. Perfect. I'm excited about it, but when it does become available and actually when it does get synced up to how it's supposed to be and it gets put out there, I'm going to share it on my social media. And what is your social media that people could find you at?
They can go on the CFWE page on Facebook. They can go Thumper Chapman, George Black, which is actually my real name. A lot of people don't realize that, but that actually is my real name, is George Black. The Thumper Chapman page, I'll post it on the CFWE page. I might get so excited I'll throw it on the Black Death page. You never know. Yeah. You never know what I'll do. Yeah. I might even get excited and throw it on Instagram. You never know. Yeah. I get lost because I got Twitter accounts and Instagram accounts and Facebook accounts. I get lost sometimes where I'm at sometimes. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe I need 39 people running my Facebook page.
If I had 39 people right now running my page, I would basically be filing for bankruptcy, and I'd be throwing myself out a 2-story window like it's the 1929, or not 2-story window, a 29-story building like it's the 1929 stock market crash.
I'm gonna kind of do this the best I can, but I'm not I'm computer illiterate, and I can run my own Facebook page.
Oh, this is why I love you, man. This is why I love you.
I need to dye my beard blue again. That's what I need to do.
We're going to end this right here. I don't want to get too blue about it. So, you can follow Thumper Chapman.
How far would Thumper Chapman go? Think about that.
You can go. I know you can go. But I'm gonna let you push that envelope to about right here, because I could let you go all the way, but
Yeah.
you know what? Okay.
If you don't put Thumper Chapman on a leash, it's hard to get him under control.
It definitely is. It definitely is. But
that's why they don't like for me to be a hill. Yes, I will put my chaps on and dance around butt naked too if I have to.
Oh my goodness.
Make the I'll even do a little flex for him.
So there's 24-inch pythons, brother.
Oh yeah. I'll stand there in chaps with a blue beard and flex my muscles at him. Yeah. I'm gonna get you in trouble.
I live in trouble. That's my middle name. No. Yeah, like Austin Powers says, danger is my middle name, baby.
Well, Thumper Chapman, you either love him or hate him. It doesn't really matter. But you'll never forget him.
Damn. Well, since you can follow Thumper Chapman on the social media, I wanted to mention this plugs right here where you can on social media and this Podcasting Network, your top source for independent podcasting. Head over to podcasty.net for great content and great shows over on the website. Hit them up on Facebook, Podcasting Network. Give them a thumbs up and a follow. Send them a tweet over on Twitter at podcastingnet. Subscribe to their YouTube channel for video podcast over on Podcasting Network and on Twitch, Podcast City Network. You want more Everett Lee? Then hit me up on Facebook. Give me a thumbs up and a follow, Everett Lee Show. Twitter at the Everett _Lee. Instagram, Everett Lee Show. And audio portions of this podcast and previous released podcast, head over to YouTube, the Everett Lee Show, Stitcher Radio, iTunes, Podbean, and iHeartRadio. When I need a logo or graphic design done, I use 3 Count Design. 3 Count Design offers a wide range of graphic design products, video, photography, and other forms of media. Everything from t-shirt designs to websites. For more information, head over to facebook.com/3countdesign. That is facebook.com/3countdesign. When I want to kick back a few cold ones with my friends, I head over to City Limits Tap Room. City Limits Tap Room has a wide selection of TVs to watch your favorite sports, indoor and outdoor seating, and they are pet friendly. City Limits Tap Room also has food made fresh to order, and the grilled cheese is excellent. I recommend the grilled cheese and the apple pie cider with fries on the side. You can't go wrong with that, baby. For more information for upcoming events, head over to facebook.com/City Limits Tap Room. I want to thank Thumper Chapman for coming on here on the Everett Lee Show, as always. And I want to thank everyone for tuning in, for viewing and downloading this audio and video portion of the Everett Lee Show. And Everett Lee signing off. I will see you all again next week with another new episode of the Everett Lee Show. Peace.
Everybody had a good night.